Alright, should be recording. I see the file going at least. That's always a good sign, seeing the file being made. Anyway, getting back into Darksiders 2. This is still the Abyssal Forge DLC that I'm in. And I do have notes I made for talking about, but I don't remember. I think I'm gonna be crossing a thing, so it's... Oh, put me back here. And I don't have the map. Great. Yeah, I did make notes, though, because there was a good amount of stuff this week. It was CES, after all. Which, yeah, the CES itself was a little awkward for me, because I forgot, I swear, when I looked up, like, the CES website, it said started on Tuesday. I forgot that CES is one of those shows, though, where, yeah, it starts officially on Tuesday, but they'll typically have, like, the keynote, a special keynote that actually begins it the day before. And that was Intel. So I have the thing, so I can safely do this. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's part of the reason why the Intel CS write-up I did was later. Was late on Monday. Sorry about that. So one thing that I said last week proved me wrong. I think it was the initial, at least expectation, but 2020 was a year for expectations to change. That I didn't see anything. Now, I only looked at the press releases, not at the video, because I didn't have the time. But nothing about the discrete graphics, the DG2 stuff. Which, that's the consumer targeting product? I'm pretty sure that is. Yeah, so apparently nothing about that. But, I mean, it's... I'm sure that will be coming. May just come a little later. Of course, maybe the biggest news. I don't, by the way, know if... And focusing on the game again. I don't know if this is, like, directly getting us to the boss fight. I don't think it is. I think that there's going to be a little bit more. But anyway, going back to the Intel thing, yes, the obviously biggest news would be that they have named their next CEO who will take over. I don't remember, and I know I did not put that in my note. Middle of February. Is it February 15th? Which is interesting in that that does mean that Bob Swan, the current CEO, will still be doing the investors call, which I guess also makes sense because you wouldn't want it, especially since that's next week, you wouldn't want to change that so soon, but it still is a little interesting. But one thing that I saw pointed out in the Nantech article by Ian Cuttress, Dr. Ian Cuttress, that is interesting is that, because, I mean, Intel's been struggling for years. That's, we all know. Okay. Well, Bob Swan, in just 2 years, has done a lot. He has managed to keep Intel going and expand it. I mean, they're in new markets and they have been bringing more revenue, but I'm pretty sure it was Ian Cuttress who pointed out the whole, he's an economist kind of thing. You know, he's, you know, good for managing that sort of stuff. Whereas the new guy, Belsinger? Pat Belsinger? Gelsinger? And of course I don't have that in my notes, do I? Nope. Sorry about that. He's an actual engineer, so we're going to have an engineer at the head of Intel again, which should be a good thing for the company. And I know I love my AMD stuff, but it's like, I mean, you still want Intel to do well. You know, you want to make sure that there is cause for continued innovation on both sides. You know, like the whole Intel would, people, fans of Intel should be very happy that AMD came up with Zen, because of how that has pushed Intel to also innovate. Like, to finally get off of the top tier consumer CPUs being 4-core. Come on. Huh. Drat. Actually, that might be all I have to do. It's just kind of this way. Oop, I fell off. Wait, what? The heck happened? That was odd. Just trying to think. Anything else to really mention about? Oh, that's about the intel stuff that I saw. They did talk about a little bit the whole, is it Alder Lake? I think it's... Man, I don't remember now. But the, yeah, I don't quite remember how you do. Yeah, because you can't do that. I don't think... Yeah, you can't just jump on it. What am I missing? I'm missing... Anyway. Although, what is over here? That must just be like an easy way back. Yeah, the I think it's Alder Lake. I might be wrong on that. Is the whole it's not Big Little because that's the ARM design, but it's that idea from Intel. Yep. That is not what I meant to do. Where they have high performance cores and low power cores, or high performance and high efficiency cores as separate things, and depending on what the task is, it will be run on one or the other. Which is certainly an interesting idea, interesting concept, and could prove quite successful. We'll just have to see. But it's also interesting that you would think, oh yeah, that'll be great for mobile, but Intel's also going to bring that to desktop. Which, it's not like efficiency doesn't add on desktops, it certainly does, but it will be interesting to see how it's done. At least, I think it'll be. I'm gonna try something. It'll be a bad idea, but I still want to try. There we go. Nope, this worked. This worked perfectly, in fact.
I cannot.
Alright, and... Yes, there is. Yeah, so that will be interesting to see, and also at the earnings call we're going to get more information on things such as their status for their 7nm node, which is like, hey, they finally have 10nm, at least mostly figured out? I actually don't know if how well figured out that is. At least it is a thing, it's not just a punchline anymore. And that's good. Anyway, after that, we then had the AMD keynote, which it has been interesting because I've seen some people talk about how it was boring. It's like, yeah, there was a lot of talk with partners, and not necessarily a lot of new announcements. But it's like,
I cannot.
Yeah, but it is CES. That is kind of what it is going to be. It's going to be more the partner kind of stuff and more the mid-range stuff, not necessarily, you know, big stuff. Although it would have been nice to see something for Threadripper. Threadrip is a consumer part, right? 64 cores? That's totally consumer, right? But, yeah, so they announced the Ryzen 5000 series... Ryzen 5000 mobile series? It's the APU. I'm pretty sure it's the APU. It was funny, they did not talk about, in the keynote, what the GPU is on. Ah, man. But I'm pretty sure it would have to have GPU in there, and I think I did see somewhere a mention of Vega GPU cores, which... Okay, so this... Yeah. Well.
Is unacceptable. Matt Smith did not lie. His creation lives.
I'm not.
So many constructs.
I'm not gonna...
It is my function. My progeny shall construct abyssal forges upon other worlds. A new race that shall inherit all of creation.
I will not allow that.
You are not like the Makers. You are neither angel nor demon. What is your function? A new age begins to begin.
Oh, wait. Need to get over there. Damn it. Lost my time. Yeah, I don't remember where it was that I saw that it is Vega GPUs, but that would make sense in that it might be then that it's just, basically the Zen... Wait. Yeah, Zen 2 based... Well, we already seen the Zen 2 based APUs, so that would be the 3000... No, 4000 series, because they finally have them back in sync. 4000 series APUs, like, they just changed what the CPU cores are instead of, changing the GPU core. Alright, what do I... Wouldn't be horrible. But they did also announce one thing that I am kind of curious about, the HX series, which they are unlocked version of only two of the processors, both 8-core, 16-thread, because, I mean, these are the top of the line. You wouldn't... Okay. It would make sense to me if we eventually do see 6-core, 12-thread unlocked versions, but that's just like me personally, I think that would make sense to have and sell. I guess that isn't going to happen, or at least not for a while. But yeah, I do think it will be interesting to see how those go. Yeah, so 8 cores, 16-thread APUs that are also unlocked for your laptop. It's like, that's pretty cool, right? They showed off the Milan Epic, which, you know, does give us an idea of what we may expect from 5000 series Threadripper. Because it should also be the Zen 3 compute cores in both of those. Hopefully I'm remembering all that stuff correctly. And it counts to the dual Xenon system that they showed. Now true, it was also dual Epic system, and it was 32 core as opposed to 64, which is possible. We know AMD is capable of that. Why is your timing so short on that? But yeah, if you were hoping for some news as far as like the new mid-range, the 6000 series mid-range GPUs, which would be like the 6700 series, unfortunately we did not get that. Except in a single image, it did show two discrete GPUs, one using a dual fan reference cooler, another single fan, which may or may not mean anything, because those could just be renders that will not just, you know, what we might see, or it could be, no, there will in fact be products in such reference design. And that single fan version, single fan GPU was also like half length. It was only the length of the PCIe slot itself. It wasn't half height though, so it might not work ideally in all compact builds, but still that might be a good thing for a compact build. If I had to guess, though, that would be like the 6300, 6400, maybe 6500. While dual fan would be 6700 and 6600 series. We'll find out. Yeah, those bugs hurt a lot. And with all these flame spires here, it's hard to see anything. Ow. That did occur to me though, because some people are still like really looking forward to the Melody Effect Super Resolution, which should be the come on, brain turnover, the DLSS competitor. It occurred to me that what would make the most sense for that would be for it to be announced, you know, when they launched like the 6700 series, which the latest one was that availability at least would be like end of March, so got a month or two. But it would make the most sense then, because it's like those are the GPUs that you'd actually want to use it on. And it's like, who is buying in like a 3090 intent on using it with DLSS. I'm sorry, but unless you're also then like, oh, it's because, you know, I've got, you know, one of the few 8K monitors in existence, and I want to power that. And even then, I remember seeing some critique of that. Who did that? Was that that claim where it's like, yeah, the 3090 is capable of 8K at 30 FPS. I think that was the point being made. That yeah, that Nvidia was saying, oh, it's capable of 8K. It's like, yeah, they're stretching things a bit there. Oh, this isn't very fair. How is it? Ow. No, put it on there. It's like he clearly has no health. Here we go. Yeah, it'd make the most sense for super resolution stuff to be launched then, doesn't it? I may hang out in here instead of going back to fight Samael. I remember that's who I'm actually. That's who I actually decided, you know what, I can't beat him, I'm gonna go do other things. Go do the DLC first.
It is done.
Yes. And now, will you end me as well?
Your broken mind is punishment enough, Smith. Don't make me regret my mercy.
Time to make a new masterpiece.
I don't think there's basically anything from him. It's like, because they all only go up to purple at the highest. Could sell some stuff though. I mean, not that I really need money, but it's just that way I'm getting rid of stuff without having to upgrade something that I don't care about. But it is also this UI. Yes. Okay, I'm good on slots everywhere else, though. It's just here that I can also check my notes. We get here and see what is Volgrim got. I already picked that up. There. I hit I because that I think is inventory. No, it's not. Are you crazy? It's not inventory. I is menu. You just like escape. It's weird. There's a reason I'm doing this. I'm hoping to get the health pots out of it. Oh yeah, there is the non-X variants of the 5800 and 5900. Although I saw somewhere apparently those are OEM only. Loaded. Yeah, there potentially, but yeah. Okay, then next thing I have here is just Nvidia, which the main thing there was, aside from their laptops, which I don't know, how much do the laptops really matter to people? The mobility GPUs? I mean, personally, I'm more interested in mobility CPUs, because, like, you know, I don't play games on laptop. But, you know, having a powerful but still very efficient CPU, that means more to me. And I've got the health pots over there. Might not. It's fine. So they announced, the 30 series mobile GPUs, which there, which one thing that I didn't see anything like to actually identify them as the mobile GPUs. I do not feel like fighting him yet. Just saying. I'm just thinking maybe going somewhere. So you know what? Yeah, what do I have? Oh, but I don't feel like looking at what would, because you want to spend those in specific ways. Yeah, I didn't see anything that distinguishes between them. Well, that distinguishes between the mobile GPUs and the desktop, because there's no way that the mobile 3080 is, going to be comparable, except in name, to the desktop 3080, right? I mean, it's like we all expect that to be the case. Am I wrong?
Welcome to Shadow's Edge.
Oh, I thought he was also a storm.
This is no place for a horse.
Which, I mean, still, it's good to have, the Ampere coming to laptops. But it's like the fact that it's just, they're still just being called the 3080, 3070, 3060. It's like, this could risk confusion. Especially if you end up seeing any companies be crazy and stick the actual desktop GPU in there. And that's happened before. I think Acer's done that before. I feel like MSI may have as well. I don't remember if Acer's. But where they actually, put the whole thing on there and it's a desktop replacement level laptop. And it's insanity. Like, an hour on the battery is, wow, that's actually lasting really long. But hopefully we also don't end up seeing the 1060 or 2060 variants issue. Because it's like, with the 1060 there were, 6 different versions of that? Because there was the 6 gig and 3 gig to begin with. They eventually had a 5 gig. There were versions of it that were actually the 1070's core, 1070 GPU, but with certain things turned off. I mean, there were so many variants of the 1060. It was insanity, and then there were the mobile versions that also were so confused. Yeah, it seems clear that NVIDIA wants to continue the naming confusion. At least that's what it seems like. But yeah, they also announced the 3060, which I will just say that, that watching that keynote, how they presented it to me gave me concern. Gave me cause for concern. Because I'm watching it, and what are they talking about first? They're talking about the 1060. The 3060 is the successor to the 2060. The 2060 is a 1440p class card. The 1060 is a 1080p class card. And that's what you're choosing to compare it against. It's like that's worrying to me, because it's like, oh, the 3060 I'm sure will still be a 1440p class card, and I'm sure it will still beat the 2060, but maybe it's not going to beat it by much. That's where my concern is, that it actually might not be that good a GPU compared to the 2060. Now, I'll grant, the 1060 is kind of a behemoth, in that, it was very popular, sold very, very, in fact, since I just quit out of that, let's pull up the Steam stat. Hardware. Where am I? Oh, here. Oh, right there. The most popular GPU is the 1060 on Steam in the hardware surveys at 10.99%. Okay? The 2060 is in third place at 4.69%. The 1050 Ti is at 6.25%. In between. The 1650 is it? Yeah, and because it's also, you could have compared the 3060 to the 2060 or to the 1660. And they didn't. They went to the 1060. It's like that immediately was a red flag to me. And we'll see that it's coming out when? I don't remember. February, right? I think it's end of February. Another advantage to being outside of the game is I can just pull up the news items, including... let me make sure I got the name right. Gelsinger. Okay, Pat Gelsinger is going to be the new CEO for Intel as of February 15th. He was, and this I do remember, he's currently the head of the CEO of VMware. He was previously at EMC, and then before that spent 30 years at Intel. So he's coming home to Intel. Let me just see. 3060. Trying to find the date here. Come on, I should have it in here. Did I forget to put it in there? I'm pretty sure it was revealed. Alright, there's another place I can try for. Later February. Okay, late February. $329. So not necessarily bad. Not necessarily a bad buy at that, depending. But it's also, will you be able to get at that? And we need to see what the actual performance is. Because it might be, where's the 3060 Ti? Is that $399? That might be worth it for some people. But it's also, if it does end up that the 3060 is really not that impressive, that would explain something that, was it last week or the week before, when I was like, I don't understand why they released the Ti first. It's like, that really doesn't make sense to me, because to me, it's like with the Super Series. It's like, that comes after, a while afterwards. It's like, okay, we figured things out, we've optimized the design, we got better feeling of how the process node works, so we can clock this thing higher, we can unlock more things, and it's like, we can make it better now. Whereas with this, it was like, here's the better thing now, and now we're giving you the base variant. It's like, how does that make any sense? So I was confused by that, and well, maybe we'll find that that's why. But it's a full ampere GPU though, so it'll have DLSS support, which will no doubt help it if it's desirable. It's like DLSS 2.0 is objectively better than DLSS 1. That's, yeah. But it still is. I cannot help. I can still see the screenshots. Just, I don't even have to close my eyes. My memory of them is still clear enough. The screenshots that I took in MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, where suddenly the lighting is different. Just because I had on DLSS 2.0. And it's like, no, I'm sorry. I'm actually seeing effects change. And I can also remember the change to the lasers in it. It's like, I cannot escape that in my mind. I can't give a full-throated endorsement as some do to DLSS, because like, it does change the content of the scene. It's not just a reduced quality, it is the actual content of it. Effects look different. If it were only the quality wasn't as good as native, then it would be like, I'd be fine with that, because it's also, if you look at I don't remember which video it was, but one of the videos I did in MechWarrior 5 where I was making the changes and looking at it, it's like, it really looked good. It really did. But it's just, I can see the lighting is different. I can see effects are different. I don't want that. And also that game, man, I will continue to praise it for its resolution scaling. You could go down so far before it actually started to look bad. That was at 1080. That was a 1920 by 1080. At high resolutions, you might be able to go even further because you have more information to start with. But of course, you will want a more powerful GPU in those cases as well. So yeah, we'll see how the 3060 works out. Just as we'll also see eventually how the mid-range 6000 series GPUs from AMD work out. Which would also be interesting to see, because it's like it's funny to me to see some things about comparisons of the AMD ray tracing performance versus NVIDIA, and it's like, okay, we still don't know what the ray tracing performance is going to look like once it's better optimized for AMD. It's like, wasn't Battlefield 5 was the first game with ray tracing, with the RTX ray tracing in it, right? Didn't it take a few months before they finally had an update? Like, other games had come out with it before they finally put out the patch for it that made the performance significantly better. I mean, it's that we may see a moment like that happen for AMD as well, where it's like suddenly, oh, now it unfortunately may be a kind of thing where it's like, well, we can't help with past games, but going forward, yes, we can really optimize. So I mean, I'm hesitant of any current comparisons of the ray tracing performance there, because it's like, well, one has got like, what is it, 1-2 years of optimization behind it, software side optimization, not hardware. Though they have with the second generation RT cores optimized the hardware. But it's like one has that behind it, the other doesn't. And you want to compare it now and make positive conclusions one way or the other now. It's like, that should be a, yes, look at it, find out how it is now, see how it is in prior games. Because that might not change. But remember to always have that asterisk of, we don't know what optimizations are possible. That was another thing. They also were comparing the 1060 and 3060 on ray tracing performance. The 1060 that lacks any ASIC acceleration for ray tracing. It's hardware accelerated because it's able to use the GPU hardware, but it's not ASIC acceleration against a GPU that has second generation ASIC acceleration on there. Why would you ever compare those? Especially in that where it's literally the second generation. I can understand 1060 to 2060, but 1060 to 3060? What's wrong with you? That makes no sense. Anyway, I should stop talking about that. Just the only other thing is the whole Lucasfilm Games is a thing. Again? Was it a thing before and they killed it and now it's back? But basically, it's EA doesn't have the exclusive Star Wars license anymore, which I'm certain some people are very happy about. I don't know. I haven't played. You can get, by the way, the Battlefront 2, the new Battlefront 2 that EA did on the Epic Games Store for free. This comes out Saturday. It'll be free until. What does it translate to? 9 a.m.? No. 8 a.m. Pacific time? I don't remember when the changeover is on Thursday. But you can basically go until the first half of Thursday, at least if you're in North America. First half of Thursday to the Epic Games Store and get a copy of it. My understanding is that some of those games are actually pretty good. Not necessarily great, but that Fallen Order, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, isn't that the game? Is actually quite good. So it's like EA didn't necessarily do wrong by the license, but it still is to me. It's like, okay, this could be really cool to see other studios get to work with Star Wars. We already know Ubisoft, specifically Ubisoft Massive, will be working on one. That's the developers of The Division, which I enjoyed both The Division and The Division 2. I really did. So I'm definitely going to be cautiously optimistic about it. Let's see what comes. I'm curious. I'm into it. But also Machine Games of the new Wolfenstein games. So Wolfenstein New Order, which I definitely enjoyed, and Wolfenstein the New Colossus, which was visually impressive, but I did not care much for gameplay or story. I consider New Order the better of the two. But they're doing an Indiana Jones game. Because that is also a Lucasfilm property, and we have not had an Indiana Jones game for quite a while, and this could be interesting. This could be good. Let's see what comes of that. But yeah, that was definitely big news, but I had to wait until today because I'm recording this on Friday, because it's like that'll be part of the news roundup kind of thing. The video game news roundup. Alright, and I'm just thinking if there's anything else to mention. I'm gonna have a fun, long weekend. Gonna finally finish up one project that has been mostly finished. Been using it for a while, been pretty happy, but one thing missing. Finally have that, so we're gonna be able to put that back together, have that all finished up, and then I can finish up the article on it, submit that. And, yeah, and I've also got like 2 or 3 reviews to work on. I've got time, though. I do have time to work on them. So hopefully I won't have more stuff appear that will take away that. Anyway, 40 minutes. Seems pretty good to me. Oh, I will add one thing. Completely irrelevant to this, but something I saw, an update, news update for Satisfactory, because I really enjoy that game and play it a lot when I'm swamped and don't want to go into a more stressful game like this. Update 4, the next big update that's coming soon, TM. That's exactly how they describe it. But anyway, we'll be getting gases. And the first one will be nitrogen. A lot of it will behave just like fluids, but it's gonna, one thing that they talk about is we'll have a different way of collecting it, where you put down something that basically pumps something into the ground, so that it increases the pressure. It's a pressurizer, increases the pressure of whatever the gas is, so it then has ruptures around that. That's where you collect it from. Could be an interesting thing depending on how they do it. But will be transported like pipes, like fluids in pipes, I mean. And yeah, we're going to see a lot of things change with Satisfactory with that, probably. Just the whole integration of gases will mean more complex things. We also saw a blender not that long ago that has 2 pipe inputs, 2 solid inputs, 1 pipe output, and 1 solid output. Conveyor belts is what I mean by solid. So it sounds to me like it's a manufacturer that's both for fluids and solids. So we'll see. That could, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. We'll find out. But yeah, it's that game is gonna get interesting, and hopefully now that they are going to have gases in there like that, they'll finally have a way to deal with the noxious gas. If you played the game, you know exactly what I mean, and you are probably feeling the same way I am. That, oh, please, can we get that soon? Yes, do nitrogen first. Work out all the kinks, but give us that. Alright, see you next time.